Okay, guys, we can start. Am I audible to all of you? Can you just message me? Is everything fine? Okay. So, guys, I'm expecting I'm audible to all of you. I got many messages that I'm audible. In case if you have any problem, just log out and log in. Use the computer audio. Okay. So, okay, guys. So, what we have done so far, we have discussed about the emergence of sociology, right? This was the first topic that we have done. Then we have discussed about the scope, and then we have discussed about this particular topic, sociology as science, and then we have discussed about positivism. So these are the four topics that we have done. Common sense I'll discuss after some time. Okay, that's not a difficult topic. So this is what the four topics that we have done in the last four sessions. Now, guys, out of this what we have done yesterday, these two are almost similar. Is there any doubt? We have discussed the elements of science and elements of positivism. You can see when we discussed about science, what are the elements? Can you quickly type it? We have discussed about intersubject reliability, quantifiability, theory, objectivity, and then prediction, testing. These are the elements that we have discussed. Similarly, when we discussed about positivism, almost all are overlapping. For example, theory building is overlapping. But what approach? Inductive approach. By establishing cause and effect. Objectivity is there. Testing, prediction, all are same. Then studying or focusing on external realities, right? So these are the elements of science and elements of positivism we have discussed, because in fact the positivist approach is what used in science, so it has to be similar. Then we have discussed about criticisms. After discussing the elements of positivism, we have discussed about criticism. For example, you are stressing on external aspects. What will it happen? What will it lead to? You are only studying external aspect, but the social world is made up of a lot of human emotions, human actions, human consciousness. That means the internal aspect. So if you are focusing on the external aspect, that is a partial understanding. It's a fundamental misunderstanding. You will only understand half of it, right? That is the most important criticism we have seen. And then others like theory building, there are limitation, testing, prediction, objectivity, those things also I have discussed the criticism. And then what I've told you as a solution to this, or an alternative approach, that is what non-positivist approach. So within non-positivism, there are different perspectives. We will see Weber's approach. We will discuss in detail about Weber later. Today, I will just introduce that. And then Mead, that also we will do later. Then two perspectives, that is phenomenology and ethnomethodology, that we will be doing today. So today's topic, guys, this is non-positivism. Very important topic. I need your complete attention till the first 20 minutes where I'm discussing the entire concept, and after that when I discuss a PDF, whether you attend it or not, it's not a big problem. Now tomorrow we will be discussing about objectivity, value neutrality, very simple topic, that's a time pass. Day after tomorrow we'll be discussing quantitative and qualitative method. That's also very simple topic, something which you can read, you can understand. It's a very simple topic, again it's a time pass. But today this is a very important topic, because some of you will face problem in understanding it later. Though we know positivism, we have discussed about science, exactly opposite is what non-positivism, but how you're going to present it, what all things you need to write it, that's very important. Okay, so what I'll be doing today is we will be discussing non-positivism completely. Yeah, today you will see exact opposite than science and positivism. It's not the same. And then I'll use some technical words. I'll explain those technical words also, but it has to be very clear to all of you. So guys, what we will do, let me make a table. Positivism. So this is what we have done, right? Can you just quickly tell me what are the elements? Because if I know that elements, I can take exactly opposite to get non-positivism, and I can make it simpler for you. And for you also, it will be very easy. What are the elements, guys? We are stressing on external realities, external aspect. I'm not writing it completely. Okay. And then that very important aspect is theory building by establishing cause and effect, right? By using inductive approach, right? And then use of scientific methods, very important. You have to use scientific methods or quantitative approach. And I've given you not enough examples for that. Durkheim study of suicide, right? And then we have to make theory of, okay, we have discussed. Then what, guys? Objectivity, right? Objectivity, testing, prediction. Okay. Now, guys, I'm going to use one sentence to explain complete positivism. Listen to me very carefully and understand it. Positivism is an objective study of objective reality. Okay, what do you mean by that first part? Objective study. I'm talking about this. It's an objective study because we are making theories by following scientific methods without any personal bias. So it's an objective study. Correct? Why I'm saying objective reality? Because you are stressing on external reality, natural objects, phenomena, like that. That is what in positivism, right? So objective study of objective reality. You got me? External realities are something which we consider as objective reality. So what, because you will see later when we discuss about Durkheim, he will say you should be considering social facts as things. What this shows his concern towards, science, making sociology similar to science. Social facts like religion, how can you write or consider religion as things are means like natural objects, right? But Durkheim says you have to do that. We will be discussing that in detail later. Suicide need to be considered as thing. Family, then you can study objectively. So guys, the sentence that I'm using is objective study of objective reality. You guys have to use this sentence in your exam. So what is positivism? It's objective study of objective reality. So the first part, when I say objective study, it is all about how to study. You got me? How to study? Objective study. You have to study objectively by using scientific methods, cause and effect, without any emotions, without prejudices, without preconceptions, without any personal beliefs or assumptions or anything. It has to be objective study. So how you study? Objectively. What you study? Second part is what you study. What you study? External reality. That means the objective reality. Correct? I hope this is okay for you. This is what we have discussed about positivism. So if I need to write in one line, what is positivism? Objective study of objective reality. How you study? Objectively. What you study? Objective reality. Guys, are you with me so far? Now, we are going to discuss about non-positivism. But before we move to non-positivism, there is a transitional phase. So this phase is a transitional phase. Now, transitional phase means you may see some elements of positivism, some element of non-positivism also. That means this is a deviation from positivism, but not complete non-positivism. You guys got me? So I'm making a gap here. This is a transitional phase. Guys, from here onwards, you need to understand, give me your concentration. Once we're done with this, then this topic is very simple, because nowadays this debate of positivism, non-positivism and all is not there. But in sociology, when they're asking you question, they will ask you positivism, what is non-positivism. If they're asking you what is non-positivism, you have to start with positivism, talk about the transitional phase, then come to non-positivism. If they're asking only positivism, still you need to talk about positivism and then non-positivism. That's how you need to write your answer. Okay, so listen very carefully. This transitional phase is where we need to discuss about Weber and Mead. Mead is not that significant. Weber is more significant. Now, what Weber says, guys, if you remember when we discussed about scope of sociology, what did I told you? For Weber, what to study? Can you guys type me what you should be studying? What is the scope of sociology for Weber? If anyone, what is the scope? What you should study? Internal aspect, right? Internal reality, the internal aspects, the meanings, emotions, motives, micro approach, right? Formal school, synthetic school, we have discussed. So Weber belonged to formal school. So micro, emotions, internal aspects. So don't you think that is exact opposite to this? Right? So Weber says you should be studying internal. So there is a change. You can see this is what the deviation. So what is change, guys? There in positivism, you have to study the external aspect. Here you have to study the internal aspect. So the subject matter changed, or what to study have changed. So before it is studying objective reality. Now it is subjective reality. Why? Internal aspects are subjective. For me, for you, for others, it is completely subjective. So what you are going to study now? Internal aspect, which is subjective. You got me? And then this is what micro approach and everything that we have discussed. So Weber belonged to micro. So here it's about macro, giving importance to society, external reality. Here the internal aspect, micro. Micro aspects is what you study. This is subjective. So this is objective. This is subjective. This is okay for you? So this is what Weber. What happened here? The subject matter changed. What to study is changed. But how you're going to study, that's very important. Weber stress on one thing: you should be focusing on objectivity. So now I got what to study, internal aspect. How you study? Exactly like what positivists do. You have to make theory, you have to use methods, you have to ensure objectivity. And you can see Weber have made theories. That theories is what you're going to learn later. In non-positivism, you won't find any theories. So Weber stress on theory. So can I say Weber is having element of positivism? What is that? This one. This one is an element from positivism, but he deviated from positivism where? In terms of subject matter. So what is Weber's approach? If I need to put it in this way, positivism is objective study of objective reality. What you study? Objective reality. How you study? Objectively. When it comes to Weber, can you just tell me in this way? How will you write this? Weber's approach. What you study and how you study based on that. What you study, guys? Internal. How you study? Objectively. So how can I write? Objective study of what reality? Not internal reality, subjective reality. Internal realities are subjective because that is different for different individual. So Weber's approach is objective study of subjective reality. I hope you guys are with me so far. Then it is very simple. So this is the deviation, this is the change. And his approach is known as interpretive sociology. We'll come to that in Weber in detail. At this juncture, it is not required. Okay. And then Mead is also saying that is an interactionist approach. We will come to that in detail in the theory of symbolic interactionism later. Here in this session, that's actually not required. Even if they're asking you non-positivism, you just need to mention about Weber and Mead and then talk about this. Weber deviated from positivist in terms of what? In terms of subject matter. That means what to study is changed. But how you study? You should be studying objectively using methods and making theories. So you will see Weber have made theories. Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, bureaucracy, stratification. There are different theories. Using methods, ideal types, worst hand, causal pluralism, different methods Weber use. Objective study means value neutral. You should be studying without any personal bias, personal preconceptions, etc. What were you doing, Pushkar, in your MA sociology? When I say objective study, what you're asking, right? Okay, so objective study of subjective. If any others are asking, it's okay. If you are asking, that means what? Okay, so guys, this is okay for you. Now, when it comes to non-positivism, what you will see is this will be continued. What Weber said, study internal reality. So what you will be studying? Internal. That means exact opposite of positivism. So what will be studied in non-positivism? Internal aspects. What Weber said is what followed. Okay, so that internal aspect, that means subjective reality. Internal aspects, the meanings, emotions, motives, all these are subjective because that is different for different people. Okay, guys. So in non-positivism, internal. Now every element you take exact opposite. Theory building here, there is no theory. So you will not study any theories of non-positivist. It's only about understanding. You will only focus on understanding, and for that, different methods are there, different approaches there. Phenomenology, ethnomethodology, I'll come to that. So there is no establishment of cause and effect, no inductive approach. There is deductive approach. You know what is deductive approach? We have discussed scientific methods, no specific scientific methods or anything. They are not at all concerned about that. No objectivity. Objectivity, exact opposite. They will focus on subjectivity, because social world is all governed by values and emotions and motives and all this consciousness. So you can favor subjectivity. So you see here, their approach is subjective study. What you're studying, internal aspect, means subjective reality. So how you guys are going to write it in this way when it comes to non-positivism? Can you guys type it? Then I can finalize it here. So positivism, what you study? Objective reality. How you study? Objectively. Objective study of objective reality. When it comes to Weber, what has been changed? This one, what to study has been changed, but how to study remained the same. So objective study of subjective reality. Now when it comes to here, you are studying internal, and how you study? Subjectively. So how you guys will be writing it? Yeah, all of you are getting it perfect. So it is nothing but subjective study. You are not concerned about objectivity. It's only subjective study of what? Subjective reality. I'll repeat it. Why I am saying subjective study? Why? How to study subjectively. No, not concerned about objectivity or value neutrality or anything here. You can use emotions, your values, your beliefs, and everything in your study. No problem. That will happen in sociology. Okay, so subjective study. What you're studying? Subjective reality. You got it? So that is what subjective study of subjective reality. Why in Weber objective study? Because he stressed on objectivity. You have to make theory. That is an element from positivism. But what you study, he deviated from positivism. You focus on internal aspects. That's why subjective reality. Yeah, that's perfect, right? What you have written in this chart, it's perfect, right? So positivist, objective study of objective reality. Then it comes to the transitional stage in Weber. What is the transition? What to study will change, but how to study remain the same. So what to study? Subjective reality. How? Objective study of subjective reality. Non-positivist, pure non-positivist. Guys, this is a transitional phase. This is the beginning of non-positivism. This phase is the beginning of non-positivism. So if they're asking you a question on non-positivism, yeah, biased is perfectly okay for them. You can be biased and there is no doubt, no problem with that. If you are a sociologist, you are a human being, studying human being, there will be bias and no problem. So they favor subjectivity. They just ignore this concern for objectivity and all those things. They don't make theory. They just focus on understanding a phenomena. That's it. Okay. So now, objective study of objective reality. What is that? Positivism. Objective study of subjective reality. What is that? Transitional phase. What has been changed? Subject matter have changed. So from positivism to transitional phase, subject matter have changed. And that subject matter remained the same in non-positivism, but how to study? Subjectively. Now, if I say this now, Weber is considered to have bridged the gap between the two, positivism and non-positivism. Will you be able to accept it? Yes. Why? Because in Weber's approach, you have two elements, right? Both positivism. What is the element of positivism? Can you guys type me? What is the element of positivism in Weber's approach? Objective study. How you study? Like positivist, objectively. What is the element of non-positivism? What is the element of non-positivism? What to study? Subjective reality. Okay, guys, perfect. All of you are getting it. That's perfect. Okay. So now this is it. Objective study of objective reality. That's the first one that we have learned. Positivism. Then transitional phase. Objective study of subjective reality. Why? The subject matter have changed. Third, non-positivism, pure non-positivism, subjective study of subjective reality. So what you study? Internal aspect. That is subjective. How you study? Subjectively. No problem. And what is objectivity and all tomorrow we'll discuss. Okay. Now Mead again come in this group itself, but that's not great like Weber. We will discuss that when it comes to symbolic interactionism later. So I'll be skipping today Mead and Weber, although I've given in the PDF, you can read that, because anyway I'm going to spend a lot of time for these two people. So I will be skipping that today. Okay. So guys, so far, any doubts? This one, we have understood yesterday each and every element. Exact opposite if you take, you will get this one. So external, internal. Theory building, no theory understanding, easy, right? Scientific method, no scientific methods, deductive approach. Objectivity, subjectivity, no theory, no testing, no prediction, nothing. Yeah, guys, this is easy, right? No, when it comes to non-positivism, this is a pure non-positivism. Anti-positivism means all these are part of anti-positivism. In fact, both are same. So now let me ask you, let me tell you one thing. They're asking a question on positivism. So when you're looking into the question paper, you don't find any question on non-positivism. You don't find question on Weber's approach or Mead's approach. Weber's approach is known as interpretive sociology. Mead's approach is known as interactionist approach. Okay. So question is on positivism. First, you talk about positivism, positivist element, and criticism, then briefly mention about these also, even though question is about positivism. Now imagine the question is about non-positivism. Start briefly with positivism and then write the criticism and then come to non-positivism and write the elements. So it has to be a very balanced approach. If there may be some time they will ask you positivism in one question, non-positivism in another question, then you can stress on that specifically. Because see, if you're getting this question, you need to show your knowledge completely. It's not that you're beating around the bush or anything. You're talking about positivism. Connected to that, you should be writing non-positivism also towards the end. Similarly, if non-positivism is asked, start with positivism and towards the end you have to write non-positivism. You got me? So all these words have to be there in your answer. Now, I don't know whether I've incorporated that in the PDF. I think it is there. But even if it's not there, no, Weber is not a functionalist. Weber's approach is different. Functionalist is Durkheim, Comte, Spencer, etc. Opposite perspective is conflict approach. That is Marxian approach and neo-Marxist and different other schools. Okay. So, guys, these are the keywords. I think none of you will forget about these elements and these elements. Anti-positivism is positivism only. But when it is anti-positivism, you have to write all these: Mead, Weber, non-positivism. Now, who are the people who are connected with non-positivism? There are two approaches in pure non-positivism. One is phenomenology, the other is ethnomethodology. Phenomenology, Alfred Schutz, Peter Berger, Thomas Luckmann. Ethnomethodology, Harold Garfinkel. I'll talk about that approach also. Okay, so what are the keywords, guys? If it is positivism, you need to focus on objective study of objective reality. If it's a transitional phase, Weber and Mead, right? How will you write that? Objective study of what reality? Subjective reality. When it comes to non-positivism, how will you write that, guys? You will be writing subjective study of subjective reality. Now, as and when I'm saying these words, will you be able to understand I'm talking about this is positivism, this is Weber, this is non-positivism, right? Because you can see here, objective, subjective. So two elements are there. This is from positivism, this is from non-positivism. Subjective, subjective, pure non-positivism. Objectivity, objectivity stressing where in positivism. So it's easy, right? Now the elements, it should be very easy. On one side external, here it is internal. Theory, no theory. Okay, instead understanding. Inductive approach, deductive approach. Scientific method, no such methods. No testing, no prediction, nothing. Subjectivity, objectivity here, subjectivity here. Isn't it so easy, guys? That's not difficult, right? Now, two perspectives here. First is phenomenology. Now understand this, very simple only. Now in phenomenology, you are a researcher. So I have already told you it is subjective, no problem. Your beliefs, your values, everything can come. Subjective understanding. Okay. So let's suppose an accident happened here. Any scenario you can take. Okay. Or an accident or continuous accidents happening or whatever it is. So you are a phenomenologist. What you will do is you will observe this. You'll come here, you will study this, you will observe this, and you will have your understanding. And that's what the approach which is followed in phenomenology. It's a very simple approach. There is no specific methods used like in positivism or anything. So that's the phenomenology approach. So the meanings or understanding is developed by you. When it comes to ethnomethodology, Ethnomethodology. Okay, so when it comes to ethnomethodology, so in phenomenology, what happened? This accident, you will be observing and you will be making an understanding. When it comes to ethnomethodology, it will be slightly different. This accident, guys, I'm just taking an example. It might have been seen by different people, right? So there may be many people who have seen this accident. So you are a ethnomethodologist. Rather than you develop an understanding directly, you will go and ask to this guy, ask to this guy, ask to this guy, ask to this person, ask to this person. That means you are talking to different people and getting detailed information. This approach is known as method of accounts. Method of accounts means it's like understanding through the stories that people tell, right? People tell some stories to understand their daily life. So you will take all those elements. So you will listen to all the stories, and then ethnomethodologist will take the relevant content from that. So obviously bias is there, subjectivity is there. That's not a problem. You got me? Phenomenology, you directly have an understanding. Ethnomethodology, talk to people. From there, you will get the data, and then you will develop an understanding based on your view also. But exit poll and all, this is quantitative data. That is not phenomenology. That is quantitative, exactly numbers you're getting. It's a sampling, mainly sampling process. Okay, guys, now we'll discuss about the PDF. Some sentences which I've written, which are added later, it's not that significant. So whatever is not significant, I'll just ignore it. You can read it later. Towards the end of 18th century, yeah, ethno and phenomenology, I'll come to that when we read the PDF. Those who have missed will see that. Towards the end of 18th century and early 19th century, the positivist approach like empiricism, inductivism, naturalism, universalism came to be questioned by an alternative school of thought, broadly referred to as idealist. So this is a group which started questioning. Guys, all the PDFs are given to you in the application itself. You'll get everything there. You can just download it and you can share it. You can take a print out of it also. I'll share you the compiled one. Let me check whether I have it or not. Some of my students have already compiled it. I think some of you already have it. If you're attending the session again from the previous batch, can you share it? I'll make the group open from today. Okay, guys. So now idealist means this is a group, guys. Yeah, Suraj, I'll just share today because I'll be opening it today. So idealist means there's a group which is coming. They are saying ideas are the reason for everything. Ideas are the reason for change. Ideas means what is that? Internal or external? My ideas are internal. Your ideas are internal, right? So if ideas are governing the world, Facebook, it's an idea of a person which is making the Zoom. Now there's a new normal, right? Can you go to school? Imagine the situation of the kids that they are not able to go to the school. I've seen my baby today is attending the school and attending the assembly in the Zoom, right? So can we imagine that kind of situation? And it become a new normal, and they are very much adapted to that. So it's like this: the ideas are changing everything. Ideas are the reason for social change. There may be some trigger for some, obviously that is there, but ideas are the main reason for social change. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, all these are live examples. Zoom, right? So where you are sitting and where I am sitting, and across India, right? How many students? Around 100 students in our batch, right? So across India, people are attending the session. So will it be possible ever before? Or what we all have done? I've gone to Delhi for attending the classes from here, and we all have to go and we have to prepare and see how things have been changed, right? So the ideas are the reason for social change, right? So ideas means internal. So if you're only focusing on external, that's a misunderstanding. So that is the group which is focusing. I'll be discussing in detail about this Hegel when we discuss about Marx, because Marxian understanding and the theories are developed from Hegelian speculative philosophy. I just mentioned about that. What Hegel says is social change are because of ideas generated in the minds of people. What you need to study? Ideas. What is that? Internal. So when you're stressing on external aspect, will that be correct? No. But Weber will be following this approach. Okay. Scientists like William Dilthey, Rickert highlighted the difference between natural world and social world. According to them, social world is unique in terms of meaning, symbols, values, etc. On the other hand, natural world is guided by the laws of nature. Thus, there are some internal sides which exist in this. Okay, so famous German idealist George Hegel opined that social phenomena, any social phenomena, are the result of ideas generated in the minds of individual. This is what Hegelian speculative philosophy. But Marx will change from ideas to something else, material condition. That is what we need to see in Marx. Okay, so as of now, ideas are the reason for social change. For Marx, even the ideas are also shaped by something else. That is what material condition. Why the Zoom? Why the Zoom class? It is because of the change in material condition. Guys, at this juncture, some of you may not understand. I will do that when it comes to Marx. Okay. But now you just focus on this. We are focusing on non-positivism. We are focusing on internal aspects. So I have given you this one, this group, idealist. They are saying ideas are important. So study ideas. Social phenomena are results of the ideas which are generated in the minds of individual, and these ideas are responsible for history, they're responsible for change and everything. Okay. This paragraph you can read. Now here comes Weber. Weber's ideas represent transition from positivism to non-positivism. Can you guys just type me why I'm saying transition just in one word? What has been changed in Weber's approach? What has been changed? Subject matter. Simple, right? Subject matter. What is the subject matter? What is the subject matter? Internal. Now you can be very specific, guys, because we have discussed that. What is that internal? We have discussed that in the previous session in scope of sociology. Social action, meanings attached by the actor to the action. We discussed that, but I'll be coming to that later also. So don't worry. Now you just take it as internal. So transition. I hope you guys are able to comprehend it. It's very simple. Don't make it complex. So represent the transition. Okay, internal ideas, internal meanings. It is said that by introducing a new dimension to subject matter, he brought non-positivism to sociology. Can we say that? Yes, right? He brought non-positivism. There's a starting point of non-positivism because new dimension, new subject matter. According to him, the task of sociology is to study human action and the meanings attached by the actor to their action. At the same time, now here you see, at the same time, Weber argued that the science of society should be based on scientific methods, establishment of cause and effect relation. What is this related to? From where these elements are coming? These are related to positivism. So when you write these two elements, he is having elements of positivism. This is what I have told you, objective study. Why I'm saying objective study? Because he's stressing on scientific methods and theory and establishment of cause and effect. Why I'm saying he's a non-positivist? Because of this meaning. You got me? So internal, objective study. This paragraph, I hope this is clear. Guys, interpretive sociology, this is the Weber's approach, and symbolic interactionism, we'll do that later. Whatever I have told you, that is what exactly written here. But when I discuss about symbolic interactionism and the conditions now, it will take time and effort, and for you guys also it may be slightly difficult because something which we are going to spend for 1-2 session, I don't think any point in discussing it now. So just ignore this area now. So what we have discussed is this: positivism, non-positivism. In between, interactionism. Interactionism is by Mead, and then interpretive sociology by Weber. So interpretive sociology is all about meaning, studying meanings. Interactionism means it's about human world is based on interaction between people, interaction between you and me. It could be verbal, it could be non-verbal, it could be through gestures, it could be through languages, right? So in how interaction is happening and everything, that is what a theory of symbolic interactionism will do that later. So at this juncture, I'm not going to do this too, because Weber and Mead as a thinker, we need to do separately. Okay. Phenomenology. Some of you are asking me about phenomenology. Phenomenology means, I've told you, if you need to study a phenomena, you will just observe and have an understanding. Whatever method you want, you can just use that. But in case of ethnomethodology, you are not observing and studying directly. Instead, you will look for people who have seen this. For example, whether it is an accident or a murder and all, it's not part of sociology, but whatever it is, if you need to study a social phenomena, you will be asking to people. This method is known as method of account, because you are taking the stories that the people will tell, and then from them you will make a conclusion. Correct? Let's see the PDF, and if you have any problem, we'll discuss that. The first perspective to be recognized as a purely, see this word, there's a pure non-positivist perspective, was phenomenological approach. Phenomenology represents the most radical departure from positivist perspective. This perspective took shape in the writing of Alfred Schutz. Guys, never miss the name. Okay, whenever you are writing, I've seen some of you are just writing about positivism, non-positivism, elements of positivism. Even positivism, you're writing without mentioning Spencer, Comte, Durkheim, etc. Non-positivism, you have to mention Alfred Schutz, Peter Berger, Thomas Luckmann. If you need to know complete name, Peter Berger, Thomas Luckmann. Okay, but since they are not that significant and that important, I've just mentioned here. Berger and Luckmann, in their book Social Construction of Reality, formalized this perspective. Phenomenologists go further, than interactionists, in that they reject the possibility of reducing causal explanation of human behavior. How can you explain human behavior in terms of cause and effect? It's never possible. That's their approach. So they rejected the formulation of theory, because you cannot make theory which is universally applicable. How can you make theories which are universally applicable for human being? The way I behave and you behave in a similar situation will be different, and the way I behave today and tomorrow in the similar situation will be different, right? So you can't predict the behavior. You can, even if you predict the behavior, you can't make a universal theory for that. According to this perspective, human beings make sense of the world by imposing subjective meanings, and for them there are no objective reality beyond these subjective meanings. So subjective understanding, subjective meanings are very important for them. Ethnomethodology, non-positivism further enriched with the introduction of ethnomethodological approach. Here the emphasis on understanding the reality in terms of methods or views used by people in their daily life. This approach has been developed by Harold Garfinkel in his book Studies in Ethnomethodology. Right, you can see the definition. I'm not concerned about these definitions, because we have many more definitions to study. This approach uses method of accounts, that is the stories that people tell for the purpose of understanding a situation. It's a psychological approach taking into consideration the individual account. What is the difference between phenomenology and ethnomethodology? In phenomenology, you're directly making the understanding. In ethnomethodology, you're asking to people using method of accounts and developing an understanding. So the difference is in the source of meaning which people generate in the mind. In the case of phenomenology, meanings are generated with respect to a particular phenomena. You will go, you will study, you will generate the meaning and understanding. Whereas in ethnomethodology, a detailed individual accounts are taken from different individuals with reference to that situation, which I've given you an example of accident, right? And then what you will do, ethnomethodologists then take out the relevant material from that individual detailed account. Okay, so now we'll go for the elements of non-positivist approach. What are the elements, guys? You will be focusing on internal aspects. That's the most important one. So non-positivist emphasis on understanding, no theory. Just understanding the social phenomena in terms of their internal sides, meaning, sentiments, emotions, etc. For example, ethnomethodology and phenomenology. Guys, this is a very simple thing. Don't make it complex. Only thing is that how you're going to write the answer. If the question is asked on non-positivism, you guys know what all are the elements of non-positivism, who all are the thinkers, and what are the approach, perspective, everything you know. But start with positivism, then the criticism. Even if it is 150 mark, you have to do in that way. Don't ask me. They're asking 150 words only or 10 marker only. How can you do that? Guys, I can tell you yesterday also I've told you, if you have the knowledge and if you have the conviction, right, I can make it in 500 words, even 50 words also. So there is no question of, they're asking for 150 words or 250 words. The same thing is what you need to write, but the way you will write and the way you present will be different. Then you don't want to talk too much about positivism, but you have to mention about positivism and its critique. At least you can say initial perspective used was positivism, which was relying on empiricism, naturalism, inductivism, but it was criticized by idealists because of its partial nature. And then come non-positivism, and then you can write non-positivism. There in 2 sentences, I've incorporated everything. Got me? But that is in case of 150 word. If it is 250 words, I have enough scope, and then you will not face problem with the content, right? People are talking about the problem with the content. So I have this much, too much of things are there. Even this is also 400 words. I need to write only 250 words. And there I'm saying you need to also write about positivism. Then how can you do that? I can do that. So you also have to do that. So see, guys, sociology is something, it is very easy and you can read. The approach, the way you need to proceed is what I can tell you. This is what you need to do. So emphasis on understanding. And the second thing, according to this approach, scientific methods similar to natural science cannot be used in sociology. Perfect. Okay. Guys, please don't mark anything here. I don't know who's this. Yeah. In general, non-positivists favor generation of qualitative data. What is qualitative data? What is quantitative data? We will discuss day after tomorrow, because that session is on quantitative and qualitative methods. There is nothing. That's why I've told you that sessions are of time pass, right? Qualitative data means in terms of text, like internal meanings. If you need to study it, you cannot consider in terms of numbers. Quantitative data, on the other hand, in terms of numbers. Like Durkheim theory of suicide, you are taking quantitative data. Why? You are doing statistical methods, statistical technique, and you're taking the numbers, right? So in general, non-positivists favor qualitative data, deduction, comparative analysis, etc. Weber method of Westerhan was a qualitative method devised for, guys, what is this method, Westerhan and everything? We are going to spend time and we'll do that. So this is a problem with the first 3 chapters. Most of those things that we are referring here, you will struggle a lot in the first 3 chapters if you're trying to mugging it up, because most of the things that you don't know. And later, once we discuss all these things in detail, then the time that you're spending now is like waste of time, because all these things you will never, even if you want to, you can't forget all those things. Marx, once you learn, then can you ever forget Marx? No, you can't do that, right? So most of these things that we are going to read and spend time in thinkers, I always tell this, even if you want to, you can't forget it. So these examples are something which automatically will come. So I don't want you to mug up these examples by spending a lot of time and putting a lot of effort at this point of time. Here, understand the concept and understand what is positivism, what is non-positivism, and all those things. If you are confident in that, then move forward. Non-positivists reject the possibility of formulation of general theories. I've told you already. They are more interested in understanding. Although, yeah, this one. Guys, tell me, I need an answer from you regarding this one. Although initial non-positivists attempted to develop causal theories, but later non-positivists rejected such possibilities. Can you tell me what or who I mean by this? Initial non-positivists attempted to develop causal theories. Who are that? Weber and Mead. Perfect. Okay. So Weber and Mead, that's why we are studying their theory in thinkers, right? So we are studying Weber's theories and Mead theory. That's why this one. Initial non-positivists, they tried to develop it. Later non-positivists, who are they? Alfred Schutz, Peter Berger, Thomas Luckmann, Harold Garfinkel, they rejected such possibilities. Not Hegel. Okay, Hegelian theories are there, but we are not... Okay, in this approach, testability and prediction is a distinct reality, and that is not possible. They favor subjectivity and highlighted the futility of objective approach. Because in sociology, you're studying human being studying human being, difficult to ensure objectivity. Although non-positivists do use logical approach in which they tend to eliminate the subjectivity of the investigator, but still they do accommodate values and biases in their research. So they don't criticize. Now you see, the criticisms is what we are going to discuss. You can see there is of no relevance for this criticism. What we are going to say is this is a vague approach. Just for the sake of criticizing, we are saying it's vague. We are saying it is not scientific. Even they are not concerned about science or scientific approach. We are going to say this is not objective. They are very much subjective. They are interested to be subjective. Guys, this is just exactly what we have discussed in positivism. We will say here. We will say that there is no possibility of theory. They are not concerned about theory actually. Okay. Yeah. Criticism, this approach could not resolve the dilemma of subjectivity and objectivity. Different positivists, non-positivists had different opinion and on possibility and desirability of objectivity. For example, initially Weber and Mead stressed on objectivity, later non-positivists did not. So within them, there is some contradiction. But you know the reason, right? I'm saying Weber is not complete positivist or non-positivist. He's considered to have bridged the gap. He has element from both. Element from positivism, what is that? Objectivity. Element from non-positivism, what is that? Subjective reality, internal aspects. Nomothetic and ideographic approach is related to positivism and non-positivism. Exact same only. Non-positivists could not develop single methodological principle in terms of use of quantitative and qualitative data. For example, some use, see, you are saying you should be using qualitative, but some use quantitative also. It's not a valid criticism, but we are just using it for criticizing, right? Some phenomenologists even use quantitative data from records for supporting their qualitative research. For example, Cicero, an ardent critic of quantitative method, made extensive use of statistical data in his study of juvenile justice. You don't want to study those theories and all in detail, but just to write an example, this. But guys, will not be writing all these in exam. You won't get time and space for writing all this. Okay, so you need to be very selective. This methodology heavily depends upon the ability of the investigator, right? Because especially if you're an ethnomethodologist, I as an ethnomethodologist look for 5 people and whatever they are saying, and you as an ethnomethodologist refer to something. Okay, it will have a different meaning. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, so similarly, the proper training, it requires a lot of time, cost. All this are just for the sake of criticizing. It requires a specialist. Guys, all these are very simple, right? Any problem here? Non-positives rely on understanding the phenomena. A number of times research on same phenomena result in different explanation. If you are doing it different times, you yourself will come with different explanation. If different people are doing it, obviously different explanation. Inconsistent. So these are problems. These are, see, simply you can say this is vague. Now, some of you are talking about this is all about common sense yesterday, right? It's almost because it's about understanding, and tomorrow you'll have a different understanding. Day after tomorrow, different understanding. So it's a there is no problem in criticizing its common sense, but we can't say that. Why we can't say that? Because here also we are following some methods. It's not that we are not following any methods. Ethnomethodology, it's not common sense, right? You are going and asking, and relevant material is taken, and the investigator is a trained investigator. So we can't simply say it is common sense. In practice, application of this approach was found more suitable for microphenomena, which are more particular and specific. It is difficult to apply in the study of macrophenomena. Correct? Yes, right? Because if it is some specific incidents, you can do that. But at the level of whole society, if you need to do that, can you use ethnomethodology? No, right? No, you need to do it in a quantitative way. You need to, if you need to take survey across the world, then you can't do this, right? But in case of statistical techniques, you can do that. You can even use Facebook, and you can take survey across the world, get it in terms of numbers, and make conclusion. That is easy, but that can't be done in case of macro phenomena. But they are interested in micro phenomena. In the absence of possibility of theories, use of methods, objectivity, they are not at all concerned about this. It has been criticized as non-scientific and vague. They are not interested. But guys, what is the ultimate thing here? You need to understand what is positivism, what is non-positivism, because these are the debate initially. Are you belong to macro school or micro school? Formal school, synthetic school, positivist, non-positivist, quantitative, qualitative, objectivity, subjectivity, right? This debate was there. But after 1940s, this debate is no more there. But as a sociology student, when we are starting, we should be knowing how we have evolved, right? So we need to know what is positivism. This is something which is used in the beginning, and these are the approaches. What is non-positivism? It was criticizing positivism, and new approach. Correct? That's what ideographic is related to non-positivism. It's about specific micro, and the other is related to macro. Okay, so now this debate and all is not there. Post 1940s, Parson integrated micro, macro, quantitative, qualitative, scientific, humanist, positivism, non-positivism, everything has got incorporated, and now researchers use perspectives and approaches and methods based on the convenience. There is no theoretical purity, correct? So let's see the conclusion. After 1940s, the debate between positivist and non-positivist started fading out in the favor of more composite approach using both as per requirement. Famous sociologist has resorted to the combination of these approaches rather than sticking to methodological purities. It's not that you are a positivist, you are a non-positivist, etc. It's not that. It's over. That debate is over from 1940s. But why we are stressing on this? Because we are just starting sociology right from the beginning. So we need to know what was the beginning, how it was evolved. So positivism in the beginning and then non-positivism. Now we are going to see a lot of other perspectives also, but not difficult, guys. Moreover, postmodern methodologies used by different sociologists often combine quantitative, qualitative methods. Some postmodernists, such as David Harvey, attempted to use methodologies according to the purpose of the research. That's it, guys. That's about non-positivism. Tomorrow we'll be discussing objectivity. Very simple topic, but that's very important because from last few days we are talking about objectivity. Now, it's not about quoting thinkers in your answer. It's thinkers are quoted not to answer the question. Understand this thing. There's a misconception that the students have. I've seen papers where students are just writing thinkers because they are telling that the toppers have told you need to write thinkers. Toppers have told, toppers are telling, but how? Why? Just to substantiate you're talking about non-positivism. For example, I'm saying positivism is about external reality, right? Non-positivism. So if you need to criticize that, you will say external reality. If you focus, you will be having a fundamental misunderstanding. For example, phenomenologist and ethnomethodologist or Weber, they use internal method. That is where you need to use it. So you have made a point and substantiate that point, you will be using thinkers. All previous, where have you purchased the class? There you will get all lectures, guys. You go to my course section. Okay, just 1 minute. Let me unmute you. Yeah, you can unmute and you can talk.
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, in non-positivism, we are seeing that we are using deductive approach.
Yes.
So it means that while making a study, first we will take a hypothesis, and then we will prove it. So
no,
if
what
it is
one thing let me tell you is, in non-positivism, deductive approach is more favorable, right? Because they are not concerned about subjectivity and all, more favorable. But if you have a better approach, now there is nothing like inductive, deductive or anything. If you have a better approach, you can do with that also. But what is more favorable for them? Deductive approach, because it is easy for understanding and everything. So what is better or what is more favorable for them is deductive approach. That's
okay,
yeah,
sir, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, my question is, how can we differentiate between perspective and methodology?
See, methodology is the way you are studying a phenomena. Perspective is the way you see a phenomena. Right? For example, when we see perspective, it's all about your view. Right? I see something in functional way. That means that is how I see that. That is my view on that.
Okay. So, viewing something into the on perspective is reflecting your perspective.
The methodology means how you're studying the phenomena.
How? Sir, studying something into your perspective is.
See, I've told you yesterday. Yesterday, I've told you inequality, right? Inequality, I can see in a good way and a bad way. If I'm saying good and bad, what is that? It's a perspective. It's the way I see that. I say inequality is good. It's the way I see that. But when I'm studying inequality, I will collect data. For that, I need to use some method, right? And then interpretation. So for the study, there are some methods which are involved. All that put together is what you call as methodology.
Okay. So my second question is, if you try to categorize a critical theorist or any other feminist perspective, then how can we criticize between the non-positivist or
No, you
transitional?
don't want to criticize by using conflict or feminist thinkers here, because this debate is between positivist and non-positivist, and we can use them to criticize.
Okay, we don't
We
bring
don't we
those.
don't want to bring those because this is a debate between these two, and we can solve it here itself.
So I have another question from the previous year question. There was a question regarding commercial revolution which led to the emergence of sociology comment. So in such question, do we need to mention the whole commercial revolution, or do we need to do
Now
we
it
need
all
to
depends on
define whole commercial revolution?
the content that you have. If you have enough to write only about commercial revolution, okay, then you can also add things what you're learning from Marx. Also, you will learn related to industrialization and various other problems and all that you can add. But even with your limited knowledge, also what we have done so far, you can write that. It is all about intellectual, commercial, everything need to be there in your answer.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mm.
Hello, sir.
How the postulate of scientific methods followed in sociological research, how to answer this, you should write an answer and you can send to me, because right now it will be difficult for you to answer. One dimension, the postulates of scientific methods that we have discussed in the subject, and I've given you example also to prove that, but you have not much clarity about what Durkheim is doing, what Parson has done, what Marx has done, what Weber has done. Later, once we can discuss the thinkers, then the second part will automatically come to you. If not, from that particular answer, you should be trying to write an answer. Yes, tell me.
Hello, sir. So I'm quoting a line from Weber. The task of sociology is to study the human action and meanings attached by actor to their actions. So what do we mean here by actions? Do we literally mean actions, or action, speech, expression, emotions, sentiments,
It is
everything?
action. It is like social world is created by actions of individuals. So we are doing a lot of actions and that create the social world. So if you need to study the social world, you have to study the action. But how can you study the action? When you study the action, why I'm doing this action, that's what you need to know. So if you need to know why I'm doing this action, that's when you can establish cause and effect relationship. For that, you need to know the meaning attached by the actor while performing that action. That's what that sentence is all about. But forget about that. We are coming to that theory of social action in Weber. That's where I'm going to spend time and discuss what is this meaning and how it can be studied, what are the methods used, everything we'll do.
And one more thing, sir. In ethnomethodology, you said it is a method of accounts, right? So, can we say it is something like secondary proposition or word of mouth, which we usually use in
Because
our
even that is a normal method. Actually, there is nothing new in that. Even see, if a police investigator is investigating a crime, murder happened, that's exactly what he will also do. In fact, that is also a method of account.
Yes. So while writing the criticism, can we write in ethnomethodology? There's a chance of exaggerated information or maybe
They
misinformation or
favor
false.
subject. Now, if you criticize them, they just laugh at you because they favor subjectivity. They don't care for that. But while writing the answer, we can write that because they favor subjectivity. No.
Yes, sir.
So then
Yeah.
there is no problem. Whatever you exaggerate, it's okay for them. No problem. They favor subjectivity. This is how people understand, and this is what we need to also take it. That's why that's what they will say.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, in functional and non-functional, it's a way you see things, whether inequality is functional or not functional. One group will say it is creating issues and problems in society. One group will say it is functional. Then only society will survive. That's a perspective. Hegel approach is used by Marx in one of the theory, historical materialism, and in fact, all his approach, Marxian approach, is guided by using that materialist theory.
Who are called postmodernists?
Postmodernist, actually, post 1940s onwards, all are postmodernist. In fact, modernist and whoever the feminist and all these new thinkers and all are postmodernist. Actually,
I mean, do they include non-positivists?
No, in fact, it is not only non-positivists. After that, like from 1990s onwards, we can typically say, even 1950s also we can say postmodernist. There is no clear-cut time gap in that.
Hello, sir. How many chapters?
Yes.
How many?
I didn't get you, Priya.
Sir, after how many completion of chapter you will take test?
No, test you can take any time. Like I'll share the syllabus, and based on that you can take any time test.
No,
Right?
sir. I'm asking.
First three chapters, first test, and then thinkers, like that it is there. So it's based on your convenience. I'll just share the syllabus and you see that, and based on that you can tell and you can take the test.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, intellectual contribution. Intellectual orientation means intellectual contributions. Okay, guys, we'll stop here for the day.
So one more question, sir.
Yes. Not able to listen to you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Is Weber a non-positivist or a positivist? Like, it's
Weber having
non-positive.
elements of both, but if they are asking you whether you need to tell one, then not non-positivist. Weber have both elements. That's what I've explained from the beginning. Both elements are there. He is considered to have bridged the gap between the two. But if I need to tell one, if I need to select one from that, then non-positivist. Because that's where non-positivism is starting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. See you tomorrow.